Chapter 12 of Arcade Strikers JK's 5 Confusion Burrow. United we stand. Neo Equestria. Queen Celestia sat on the solar throne as Shining Armor finished his report about the disaster conferred in attempts by the Pegasi. Every word he spoke, every report about those killed or missing, the temperature in the room rose. Even her bodyguard shifted as the heat increased. Twilight's coat was matted down with sweat, but Nemesis Prime seemed undisturbed. With the final tally, less than 100 of the Pegasi managed to return, Shining Armor reported, wearing his sleeves with his voice. They were unable to confront any humans or ponies either. According to reports, the humans suffered no casualties. Queen Celestia slammed both forearms into the ground, cratering the stone floor into the solar throne. Her coat shimmered and bright as her maned tail crackled, snapped, and popped. We are trying to help them! The soldiers, the politicians, and the president all are blind to our purpose. Our words are twisted. Our help seen as hate and hurt. If the population at large only knew, we must reach them. Twilight spoke up. But how, Queen Celestia? They've got the barrier surrounded, and they won't listen to reason either. She straightened up. Are you recovered enough to begin expanding it again? Queen Celestia glanced down at the floor for a moment, then slowly shook her head. I could expand it a few meters, Twilight, as well as the gateway between Equestria and this new Earth, but not as much more than that. I need to fully open myself up to power from the heart of Ponyland once more. I haven't had any time for that. She went down at Shining Armor and Nemesis Prime, and I need that blockade taken down, so mankind will be able to come forth and be converted into ponykind. Nemesis Prime smashed his fist together, sending out sparks. Consider it done. Shining Armor's eyes went wide. He looked up at Nemesis Prime. You and what army? There's only 22 of you metal minotaurs against an entire planet's worth of humans and their own mechanical allies. Nemesis Prime tossed his head back and laughed, then looked down and pointing at Shining Armor. I like you, Shiny. You're funny. I'll kill you last. He turned and his optic sensors lit up. And 30-foot tall holograms, each of a different style of robot, appeared on the solar throne. The Ark has 150 Sentinel drones. We were originally going to use them to conquer this mudball, but unleashing them upon the other Earth will do. Celestia's eyes narrowed, but she eventually nodded. Very well, Nemesis. Prepare your Sentinels, Captain Armor, ready to Royal Guard for support. Shining Armor straightened up and saluted before turning and trotting off. A silver Datsun 280ZX Turbo and a pink Cybertonian open-top sports car round their way down to the abandoned streets of the small Kentucky town, passing by buildings not yet destroyed by the barrier. The Datsun spun about, leaving tire tracks on asphalt. It quickly transformed into Blue Streak. Autobot Gunner. The sports car rolled to a halt, transferring into RC, Autobot Warrior. Blue Streak's shoulder-mounted missile launcher swiveled about. He turned and looked down the street at the great domed barrier, rising above the buildings on the horizon. Okay, yesterday they launched an air raid. What do you think the unicorns this time? Maybe both at once? A blue visor slid down his optic sensors. Primus. I thought we were done with this sort of dross, at least on Earth. No more invasions, no more big fights. RC reached behind her head as shoulder-mounted pods opened up, allowing her to extract 2 large laser pistols. And I was getting used to it too, Streak. Being part of Hot Rod's staff was pretty fun. Their comm systems crackled to life. Hello, this is your eye in the sky Pyroglide. Get your skip place in gear, folks. Major activity inside the dome. Looks like sweet Cybertron. Those ponies aren't playing around this time. RC touched the side of her head. Pyroglide, what's going on? 1 second, pretty lady. Going down for a closer look. That barrier is still scrambling sensors. Holy Primus. I was right! Looks like you're sending out Decepticon-style Sentinel drones! Blue Streak and RC seized a look of bafflement. Come again? Hot Rod's voice came over the signal. All available Autobots. Transform and roll for that barrier. They're bringing out some... Oh, That's how you gonna play? Fight, you twin-plate soldiers! Hot Rod, get back here. Okay, bots. Jazz here as our fearless leader zooms off. Like he said, get to the barrier and stop whatever Neo Equestria is doing cold. Artillery's gonna bring the rain while tanks and human soldiers move in for support. Now, I would have waited all fic to say this. Transform and roll out! RC holstered her pistols and ran for him. You heard him! She hopped up, transformed, and landed on all four tires, bouncing a bit before speeding off down the street. Blue Streaks followed suit. The pair sped down the street. A building to their left shook itself apart and collapsed forward. Why am I playing Dare in my head? They sped up just as the breeze slid into the street, blocking any path of retreat. Sometimes when your hopes have all been shattered, keeping you down, you gotta keep moving. Sorry. RC and Blue Streak quickly transformed to robot mode and readied their weapons. Blue Streak held his electron rifle up high. RC slammed her laser pistols as 11 robots approached. 10 were Sentinel drones. Boxy, basic humanoid machines with exposed joints. Small laser rifles for weapons and clear domes for heads. Bringing out the rear was what appeared to be Hot Rod. If Hot Rod was a black and purple color scheme and a goatee bolted onto his face. Well, the big cheese told us there'd be Autobots on this side of the barrier, Rodimus said, spreading his arms wide and smiling. Guess he and Sunbutt know what they're talking about. He dropped his arms as grinned fast. Scrap him! Before the words had finished leaving Rodimus's mouth, Blue Streak and RC were in motion. Blue Streak drove to the side, electron rifle splitting Astro bolts sending sentinels and striking two of them. Electricity crackled and flashed around their limbs. Their servos and circuits sorted out, sending them tumbling to the ground as their limbs spasm and jerked about. Do you guys remember Beast Machines? Because I'm right now thinking of those robots from there. I'm thinking of those Viacons. Yes, I watched Beast Machines as a kid! My favorite was Beast Wars. RC, meanwhile, spun about and dodged back and forth as several other sentinels targeted her and shot at her, missing by several meters. She raised her pistols and fired, striking them. With each shot, chunks of armor or even limbs were blown off. One sentinel's legs were shot out from under it and toppled over, laser rifle firing and blowing the head off the sentinel next to it. Blue Streak's missile launcher swiveled about and locked onto the closest sentinels. They shot at him. One managed to score and glanced at his hit on his chest armor. Bits of metal blew off and Blue Streak staggered back a few steps. He was close to a cry of pain as he launched two incendiary missiles at his foes. They crossed the gap between within a second, blowing apart two of the sentinels and sending shrapnel flying in all directions. Rodimus's optic centers brightened as his force was reduced to less than half strength in 2 minutes. He backed up, raising his right arm and raising his thruster cannon. Come on, you empties! He fired his few sporadic shots, all of them going wide, but still managing to send Blue Streak and RC scrambling for what little cover was available. Blue Streak dove behind a comparatively small amount of rubble as Rodimus's shots tracked him. He looked over and spotted RC inside an alley, her head trucking at intervals. I think it got mad. RC's optics dimmed for a moment as the remaining sentinels added their own firepower. You think so, Streak? She leaned out of the alley and fired several shots, damaging a sentinel but not destroying it. If you have any ideas, I'm all audio receptors! Blue Streak's neural processors kicked into overdrive. Before he could say anything, his own audio receptors picked up thick thrumming of rotors. 2 seconds later, the wind kicked up and a green helicopter with black armor plate flew over. The helicopter, the Autobot Springer, had a large double-barreled laser cannon slung underneath his yellow cockpit, and various weapons attached to the hardpoints on his wings. Sentinels barely had time to register Springer's appearance before he rained missiles and laser bolts on them, blowing them to a fine metal mist. Rodimus's optics widened. Springer! What the slag? He raised his thruster cannon, but a stray shot struck his weapon, blowing it apart in the hand holding it. His focal synthesizer screeched as he reared back, the twisted stuff spewing out sparks and smoke. Rodimus turned and with some effort transformed into a Cybertorian-style roadster and sped off down the street. evil version. Blue Streak and RC emerged from the cover as Springer hovered over them. Thanks for the assist, RC shouted, waving at him. Springer's voice boomed out. I was in the neighborhood. Figure I'd drop in. Who the slag was the hot rod Nikoff? Blue Streak shrugged. Not a clue. But hey, maybe if there's evil equestrian ponies, there are evil Autobots out there too. Oh, maybe the Decepticons are the good guys over there. RC patted him on the shoulder. Maybe we could save the speculation until after the fighting's done, okay? She looked up to her old friend. Care to give us a lift? Springer hovered closer to them, and 2 rails extended from his wings. Gladly! There's some psycho version of Optimus tearing Scrap up. Hot Rod and Jazz are trying to stop him, but that's clear on the other side of the barrier. I'll get you to the closest fighting. Both Blue Streak and RC grabbed onto the rails. You know, the sad part is, this whole entire fight scene's better than anything on the Bay movies. Hands extended and locked into their forearms, and Paul's tintless steps extended for them to step on. As Blue Streak and RC were secure, Springer flew towards the barrier, even as explosions blossomed around the dome. Polly's clad in armor and war machines emerged as shells and lasers honed in on him in the barrier. Springer flew around, finally flying towards a quartet of French-built AMX electric main battle tanks and 2 supply trucks. They were strung out on a long stretch of relatively clear street in the downtown area of the city, rubble hemming them in and forming a widening path. American and French soldiers dug into debris as fast as they could cover, even pushing automobiles around. They shot machine gun emplacements, 2-man portable laser cannons, and other weapons and readied themselves as best as they could. Springer hovered close to the lead tank. Blue Streak and RC hopped off and landed next to it with mild thuds, while Springer transformed into robot mode. The tank's hatch popped open, and an officer of the French Army emerged. He looked at the Autobots over and flashed a ragged smile at them. Bonjour, Autobots! It is good to see you. I am Lieutenant Philippe Lafayette. He turned to look at several soldiers near the far end of the rubble. Henri, set up the heavy artillery for intercepting fields of fire. Our best chance is to blow their advance at the bend. Then and there, we cannot get them a millimeter. Springer reached behind his back and unclipped his rollerblade from his back, folded up into a sword as he brought forward. You the ranking officer, Lieutenant? Some days I really gotta get a triple changer like Springer. I want that sword. Philip nodded and smiled fading away. He rubbed his eyes with a gloved hand. We rescue the blockade as quickly as possible upon arrival. The Leclerc is the best for rapid deployment, but it does not leave much time for rest on the flight over. We'll let those at the command post hash things out where we hold the line. He clenched his hands with this and thumped to his chest. And we will hold the line against these false equestrians or the fake Autobots. Blue Streak straightened to a tense and salute. We're with you. Philip returned to salute. Together, we cannot fail. Several bolts of magic shot past the rubble, followed by laser beams. Philip leaned to his side and peered into the tank's interior. Let's go! He turned to the 3 Autobots and a smile returned, along with fire in his eyes. Today, humanity stands with you in defense of our home. He turned to jab his arm out, but glanced aside and winked. Roll out! With that, he slid down into the tank, closed and locked the hatch. Philly's tank surged forward, followed by the 3 behind. They spread out as much as possible in the narrow streak as Blue Streak. RC and Springer followed along. I am loving this so damn much. 10 Sentinel drones emerged from the bend in the rubble. In contrast to the ones encountered earlier, these were little more than boxes on tank treads, their arms tipped with various weapons. Their heads were squat rectangles, with sensors jutting out from all sides. Ponies in plate armor galloped along, unicorns in front of shields up. Even before the fully cleared mountains of rubble, the tank cannons roared and launched hypersonic darts of face-hardened tungsten at the drones. The air rang as they impacted, carving huge gashes in their armor plate, obliterating arms or sensor heads. Nick Salzo managed to blow holes clean through the 2 lead sentinels. Internal fuel coolers and power cells ignited and exploded, sending shrapnel and debris flying. Blue Streak dropped down and rolled, nearly avoiding several plasma bolts aimed at his head. He rose to one knee, and his missile launchers returned fire. The incendiary missile struck the nearest sentinel, quickly became a rolling conflagrant. Springer and RC stood side by side, laser cannon and laser pistols firing in support of the tank's right flank. One of the Sentinels managed to score a glancing hit on Springer, scorching his armor but doing little, if any, damage. RC knelt and managed to blow the tank treads off of two of the closest Sentinels, sending them toppling into the asphalt and blocking the path of the remaining 5 Sentinels. They turned on their axes, providing broad targets for the targeting systems. The American and French soldiers, meanwhile, concentrated on the ponies. They hunkered down near any available cover, weapons firing at the ponies. Several unicorns held their heads down and shields extended, overlapping for as much cover as possible. Other unicorns fired back, began firing bolts of magic from their horns, while some earth ponies used crossbows. More than one human was struck by a blast of magic, although most of all the crossbow arrows fell short and even misfired. Bullets and lasers raked unicorn shields. At first they managed to hold, but eventually turned from brilliant white into a sickly yellow. Unicorns collapsed from the stress and their shields quickly failed. The human soldiers started moving forward in small groups, each one providing cover fire for the others. The ponies held together, unicorns firing back, but they were quickly cut down, the plate armor providing neither adequate covers for their bodies nor able to prevent penetration when struck. Very quickly they broke ranks, turned and galloped as fast as they could, jumping over flaming debris or managed to thread their way around the remaining sentinels. Most were cut down as they fled, but some managed to slip away, fleeing back to the barrier as fast as they could gallop. 5 sentinel drones left fired every laser and missile launcher they had. One of the tanks had its cupola blown off, and all of them had their armor scorched and pitted. Springer suddenly jumped towards one of the more attached buildings. He hit the wall and rebounded, densing his legs adding momentum. One of the sentinels managed to train his weapons on him as he landed amongst them. He swung his sword in a tight arc, slicing deep into the armored body of one of the sentinels, while his laser cannon blew apart another. 2 of them crowded around him, but he pulled his sword free and stabbed it deep into the body of one on his right. Springer dropped his laser cannon, grabbed the hilt with both hands, and sliced up, bisecting the sentinel. He then turned to his left and brought the sword down into the sensor dome of the other sentinel. You know, if these weren't robots, this thing would be rated R so bad! The Theridium steel sword met little resistance as it sliced the boxy body in 2. Both halves shuddered. It slowly fell apart and toppled over. The remaining sentinels were quickly reduced to somewhat scratched by concentrated firepower from the Blue Streak, RC, the tanks, and the closest soldiers. As the last part of them blew up, Philip emerged from his tank, an almost feral grin on his face. As I said, my friends, the line is held! The grin fell away as he touched the headset on his helmet. Get the wounded sorted and brought back behind the lines! Shore up the defenses! We'll need to resupply as well! He looked up as Springer rejoined RC and Blue Streak, and the 3 walked up to his tank. Like you. We have held, and shall do so again, no matter what. Springer tossed him a quick salute. Happy to oblige, Lieutenant. Nemesis Prime sputtered forward in semi-truck mode, casually ignoring the lasers and other puny small arms fire from the humans. A pair of tanks loomed ahead, their turrets silver turrets around him and firing hypersonic darts made of depleted uranium ammo. Half a second before the turrets fired, small thrusters in his undercarriage fired, sending him into the air and causing shells to shoot under him. He transformed in midair, spinning about as he sailed over the tanks. His right hand retracted, and an energon-powered axe emerged from his wrist socket. With a single swing, he sliced one of the barrels clean off the turret. He landed behind the tanks and spun about, even as their secondary weapons began spinning around. He howled and brought a trilithium steel fist down on the laser turret, smashing it in. Nemesis Prime's axe retracted back in, and his hand reappeared. He reached back and pulled out a double-barreled laser rifle from his subspace storage pocket and fired, spraying 2 tanks with concentrated bursts of plasma. His optics gleamed with an air of fire, and he howled inarticulately. Plasma blast bounced off his energy shields surrounding the tanks, but he quickly overloaded and failed. The armor plating lasted a little longer, but the hulls were soon penetrated from the back to front. Smoke poured from the rear of the engines and hulls as the crews were quickly and mercilessly killed. Nemesis Prime continued firing, stepping back and spraying the hulks until they started smoldering. Shining armor and a contingent of unicorns dried up. Shining armor's cheeks turned green as a wanton destruction. Its orange glow, Nemesis Prime's laser was shoved up by magic. That's enough! He looked back at the swath of destruction carved through the humans' defenses. Back up the sky, and a group of sentinels flying off in a southeasterly direction. towards some target called Autobot City. Nemesis Prime turned his optics on Shining Armor and the other ponies. Weaklings! He spun about and raised his rifle once more. He fired a nearby artillery emplacement, blowing apart the sandbags around it. He walked forward, firing short bursts that destroyed the howitzer itself, sent any surviving crew scattering. One soldier tripped on a piece of debris and fell to the ground. Nemesis Prime snarled as he approached the human. Oh, look. What of the squishies who like to play with toys? He looked over the soldier and laughed as he pulled out a pistol and fired it. The bullets bouncing off his armor and not even marring his finish. Two cars raced towards Nemesis Prime at full speed. He barely had time to look up before a hot rod barreled into him, knocking off his feet and into the ground. Jas swung about, leaving tire tracks as he opened his door and let the soldier inside before speeding away. Hot Rod transformed and raised a pair of laser pistols. He pointed them at Nemesis Prime, arms barely shaking. Optimus? Nemesis Prime rose to his feet and laughed. Ha 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 ha! Nemesis Prime nowadays. My future bride likes the name a bit better. He rushed forward, thrusting past Hot Rod's arms and just landing a solid punch right to the jaw. Hot Rod flew back, landed on a straight, gouging out 2 meter trough in the asphalt. He shook his head and spat a bit of oil from his mouth. Not Optimus, he muttered before raising his right arm and firing 2 quick shots. Both struck Nemesis Prime, sending him back a few steps and damaging his armor slightly. Nemesis Prime tossed his laser rifle away and charged, iron axe flashing into view. Hot Rod sprang to his feet and backed off, firing at Nemesis Prime with every step, but quickly dropped his pistols. His right hand retracted, and a circular buzzsaw extended. He swiped off, and slicing a solid groove in his opponent's right arm. He ducked a wild swing and fell back, too busy defeating Nemesis Prime's wild swings to be able to mount any sort of comeback. Meanwhile, Shining Armor and his contingent marched forward. Shining Armor's horn blazed as he projected his shield around the group. They slowed to a halt as Jas drove up to him and transformed to Robot Road. Stop! He shouted, holding his arms out front. Hit the trails back to your own Equestria, or else there's gonna be trouble. Shining Armor pawed the ground, snoring. What trouble? There's no way you'll be able to penetrate my barrier. He raised a hoof and jabbed at Jas. Fire at will! Not Will, he's my first commander! Fire at the Autobot! The unicorns lowered their heads and began firing blasts of magical energy at Jas. His arms several struck, picking off his armor but doing little damage otherwise. Hey, cut that out! Okay, 2 can play. He leaned forward, transformed into his Porous alternate mode. His sword swung open and large speakers and spotlights extended. Loud music began playing. Dazzling bright lights lit up. 2 feet for Shining Armor's group. Shining Armor cried out. He screwed his eyes shut, covered his ears, and hunched down to field position, his shield disappearing. Other unicorns followed suit, with one exception. He held up his hooves and rocked his head back and forth. Rocket dudes, alright! Soldiers from the Earth Defense Command, clad in deep blue power armor, descended upon the unicorns. Some held their arms high, and lasers extended from bulky gauntlets, while others held laser rifles and even a rocket launcher. They jumped in and quickly surrounded the unicorns. Quick, while they're distracted! Half of them ran in, the others covering them. Even with Jas's distraction, it took some delicate work, but they managed to slip metallic rings around everyone's horns. As soon as the rings clamped shut, lights along them lit up and a low thumping could be heard. Jas retracted his speakers and lights and transformed back into robot mode. As he did, Shining Armor blinked rapidly and shook his head. His head darted back and forth at the shoulders surrounding the group. His eyes narrowed and a horn glowed, but he cried out in pain and dropped to the ground. What the hey? He's pulling at the green guard's horn. One of the soldiers spoke up. Thematic disruptor rings. At the blank stares, he groaned and rolled his eyes behind his face paint. You can't use magical Milan. Unicorns all crowded together, flank to flank. Several of the unicorns reared back and kicked into the air in fright. But Shining Armor's voice rose above their panicking, nickering, and winning. Calm down! Calm down! He turned his head, glared at the soldiers through the eye slits in his helmet. Act like the ponies you are, not like fools! He leaned back and pulled a hollow post-it from an enormous saddlebag. With a sharp jerk, he tossed the fragile container at one of the soldiers. The container shattered against the hermetically sealed body armor and dribbled down. The soldier assaulted looked down at it, then at shining armor. Full NBC protection! And no, you don't get an explanation this time. She raised her arms, and 2 bolts of bluish-white stun blast fired from her gauntlets. They struck shining armor and exploded, sending electricity crackling down his body. He spasmed and cried out, dropping to the ground in a drilling heap. The soldier's gauntlets rotated, and the barrels extended. Next shots are lethal. Drop to the ground and place your hose behind your head, or else. The unicorns all knelt down and complied. Several soldiers moved in amongst them, undid the buckles holding their saddlebags in place. With care, he stepped back, holding his saddlebags and posted as far away as they dared. The soldier tapped a panel on the side of her helmet. Command! This is Lieutenant Mr. I'm sorry! I'm using the wrong voice! Let me do that again. The soldier tapped a panel on the side of her helmet. Command, this is Lieutenant Mizuno. We have prisoners, including what appears to be their first in Canton armor. We're bringing them in. 11 other unicorn soldiers and more posted for study. Over. I cannot believe we got a Sailor Mercury reference in this. I cannot believe we got a small cameo from an alternate universe. Ami Mizuno. I am very happy with this. Any response was lost as Hot Rod suddenly sailed overhead. He landed and rolled, and soon came to a stop in a 3-point stance. His buzzsaw held up high. Blue liquid fluids leaked from his mouth and a few other wounds, but still managed to be smiling. Nemesis Prime stalked forward, energy ants twincing. Like Hot Rod, he had several leaking wounds and dented armor. The ED soldiers all looked up as he loomed over them. As one, they raised their arms and started firing, peppering him with red razor bolts. He snarled and looked down at him. Optic sensors narrowing. Puny blobs of flesh. I'll crush you under my feet, and then scrape you off the ground. I'll burn you to cinders and... Jazz tackled Nemesis Prime, wrapping his arms around his midsection and pushing with all his might. Hot Rod leaped over the soldiers and unicorns, buzzsaw whirling as he brought it up and over his head. Nemesis Prime brought his axe up and just in time to block the flow, while his other arm swung at Jazz. Stupid piles of scrap! I'll rip you to tinfoil! Jazz grunted as Nemesis managed to strike him a few times. He let go with one arm and struck Nemesis Prime in his midsection with sharp jabs. He let go of the other arm, knelt down and shut up, striking Nemesis Prime in the head with a vicious uppercut. Even as he reared back, Hot Rod stuck in and swung his buzzsaw at Nemesis Prime's chest armor, slicing a shallow gash in it and exploding circuitry. Nemesis Prime hurled in pain and anger as he stumbled back. He spotted his laser rifle, scooped it back up, and brought it around. He managed to fire 2 short blasts at Jazz and Hot Rod, dousing both and sending them reeling. He pressed the trigger again, but the barrel started glowing cherry red as smoke formed from it. With his scream, he tossed away the useless weapon and advanced upon the injured Autobot. As twitched from side to side, which one gets turned into metal shavings first? Lieutenant Mizuno looked around at the other soldiers before raising her arm, waving them boldly to the battle. Masterson! Roberts! Get the prisoners out of here! The rest of you, come on! Hot Rod and Jazz need our help! One of the soldiers looked up and pointed to the sky. Lieutenant, I think help is on the way! Mizuno looked up and spotted a tan-color MiG-25 fighter in steep dive, nose aimed to the bow. As he nodded, her throat went dry. Nice catch, Roberts. Okay, everyone, get the prisoners and ourselves out of the area. Let's go! She and the other soldiers herded the unicorns together and moved them off as quickly as they could, one of the scooping shining armor still in conscious form in a fireman's carry. I swear to Celestia, if I find a Lieutenant Mayo, I am out of this fic! The fire set swung around 180 degrees, his wings folded forward, revealing tank treads, while the cockpit and nose cone folded to a body. A pod of what once was the bomb rose up and a long barrel extended. Nemesis Prime looked up just as the tank crashed to the ground. I do love a good triple changer. half dozen meters away. The Zero processors barely had time to register what was going on before the tank's turret rotated, barrel raised. The tank shudders and fired an explosive shell at Nemesis Prime. The shell hit him in the chest, exploding and sending him flying back. The tank split apart as it transformed to robot mode. Treads folded out from the main body into legs, while its arms emerged from its wings. The cockpit of jet mode ended up on the robot's chest, and the turret was on the back. The Decepticon Blitzwing straightened up, Gyro Blaster in hand, and aimed right at Nemesis Prime. Alright, this wasn't in the slag and miss it briefing, he grinned. I like it! Hot Rod barked a laugh. I thought you weren't due here for another 18 hours or so. He held a hand away from swinging off. Nothing, I'm complaining. Leslie shrugged as he kept his weapon trained on Nemesis Prime. I know a shortcut and backdoor through a transwarp or two. Plus, the traffic controller at Tranquility Base owes me a couple of favors. Of course, if you like, Astral Train and I could go back into lunar orbit and fill about 50 paces of paperwork, then come back down and help with whatever the hell's going on here. He tilted his head. Is that some kind of knockoff version of Optimus Prime? Jazz held up a hand. We'll take the help, thanks. As for him, well, there's evil ponies, maybe evil Autobots. Blitzwing grinned. Works for me. Probably works better for the others. Nemesis Prime groaned and rolled into his stomach. His chest armor was rent, and even a larger crack than before ran diagonally down it. Circuitry sparked and sizzled to the ground, along with fluids that leaked out all along it. He slowly rose to his feet, stumbling a bit. This isn't over! He wheezed out, words laced with static. He slowly transformed into semi-cab mode and drove off, shaking and shuddering with every bump. You know, I like the fact that it took about 2 Autobots to handle that Prime. Blitzwing held his hand out and helped out Hot Rod, then Jazz, to their feet. He pointed to the sky and heavily modified space-gray shuttle orbiter flying through the air. We spotted a large group of what was like old-style Decepticon Sentinel drones headed to Autobot City. That's not enough. Was honored to being led by a gray Grimlock with neon headlights. He leaned in close. I heard of April Fool's Day. But is there another prank-based holiday humans celebrate? Hot Rod shook his head. Primus knows we wish it was that. He pointed up an Astral Train. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but send Astral Train and his group over to help defend Autobot City. We can handle things here, at least for a moment. Blitzwing touched the side of his head. You got that, old buddy? Astral Train's somewhat high-pitched voice came from over the comm systems. Loud and clear, Blitzwing! Just tell him not to shoot us down! With that, the cell swung about and flew in a southeasterly direction, quickly dwindling in size until he disappeared over the horizon. Next time, apparently, Battle for Autobot City. Oh, I'm going to be playing Dare more often, aren't I?